Good day, guys, Austin here, and in this one today, we're taking a look at my £50 budget build PC. Now, this has far exceeded my expectations, and for this price, which probably equates to about $65 US, it's well outperformed what I was expecting. So I picked this up off eBay, and it's nothing special in terms of me hunting it down. These are bought from everywhere. There's all kinds of sellers flogging these on. It's all ex-office equipment, and what I wanted to do was find out how I can get this kind of hardware to perform for normal PC gaming and especially on emulation. So what I managed to purchase was a i3 2120 running at 3.3 gigahertz. It was installed with 4 gigabytes of RAM, and this stuff is medieval, so I'm not going to expect much from the RAM. I also got a 160 mechanical hard drive, and well, it's just bog standard to be honest, enough for an operating system and a few programs. So third party then, and all included in the budget, I managed to put an old 8800 GT. Now, these were epic back in the day, but in the year 2016, almost a decade on, these are very much starting to show their age, but mostly in terms of resolution, something that isn't needed in particular with arcade cabs and with, well, retro systems, because they never run at high resolutions. So this could be ideal. So let's actually get stuck in and see how this performed. Right, so the first thing I did was strip this down to its bare bones. I then stripped everything that wasn't needed out of this case to try and help with power consumption and heat distribution. I then decided to install a new operating system. It came already pre-installed with Windows 7, but I wasn't having that because I don't know how reliable it is, I don't know how well it's done, and I don't know what extra features have been installed with it. So I just wiped it all off and installed Windows 8.1 Professional, 64-bit by the way. And yeah, I know you're all thinking, why did you install that? It's a bit of a random one. For me, this one ticks all the boxes in terms of hardware compatibility, software compatibility, and getting, more importantly, all the emulators working on this system. So the first emulator I used was Dolphin 5.0. Now I used the Ishiruka build, which for those of you who don't know, have a look at my channel, there's all kinds of videos all about that kind of build, but it gets the most out of a mediocre system or below. For those of you with higher end systems, it also takes advantage of shaders and extra effects that you can put on there. So it's a good all-round build of Dolphin, and one that's normally overlooked by many. So anyway, I installed this, and to be honest, I didn't need to do anything to it. It worked straight out the box. I didn't need to go into any configurations, I didn't have to downsize or anything. It's all running native, it's running full speed, all games had virtually no frame drops whatsoever, except that kind of frame drops that you always get out of all the emulators, more to do with compatibility rather than performance. So first up, I hooked up the GameCube games, and Mario Sunshine, perfect, no problems whatsoever. Full speed across the board, no glitches, no hang-ups, no skipping, no nothing. Mario Strikers, same across the board, Monkey Ball tested, all worked perfectly. There was no issues with any of the GameCube games that I could see at all. For the Wii stuff then, same emulator, just different games. Again, Super Smash Bros. Brawl. What an awesome game. Now this normally would bring a struggling PC to its knees, especially when you go for the 4-player on some of the maps. This had no issues whatsoever, 0 frame drops, full compatibility, and well, I was pretty much made up with the performance across the board in this in general. I also loaded up Xenoblade Chronicles, Monster Hunter Tri, Sonic Colors, again, fresh across the board, no hang-ups, no stutters, no stalls, no nothing. This emulator on this system works like a dream. So yeah, good for Dolphin 5.0. Next up then, because I knew that this was getting good performance, I installed the PC SX2, which is the PlayStation 2 emulator. Now this one is the beast, and this is the one that I was expecting to have the most difficulty with. Now on this one, I did need to throw in some extra configurations to get certain games working. Not so much with the compatibility, because everybody has to do that with certain games anyway, but more in terms of actually getting the performance in there to get the full frame rates that I would expect when playing these games. Now to get steady frame rates across the board, no hacks at all, just configured correctly. I managed to get Metal Gear Solid 2 running, no problem whatsoever. Now, for those of you who've played Metal Gear Solid 2 at the very beginning, you've got the rain effects, and that usually would bring a struggling computer to its knees, give me stutters, frame loss, all that kind of stuff. This pretty much handled it, no problem whatsoever. Same with Tekken 5 and a few of the other normal mainstream games. When I then put the Beast on there, Shadow of Colossus, it did slow down, but that was expected. That even slowed down on my big rigs. I then had to switch to aggressive hacks, put a few workarounds in there. For more detail on that, look at my PCSX2 installation guide. But I did get this working, and I got it working pretty damn well. I would say across the board, I managed to get the PCSX2 playing all the PlayStation 2 compatible games working to a T. A native resolution with no extras. That's absolutely awesome. This is not what I was expecting from this. Also, with that in mind, I also managed to get the PSP working with PP emulator, no problem whatsoever. Same games as normal, Wipeout, Metal Gear Solid, Peace Walker, all working, no issues whatsoever. Threw on a few extra games just for testing compatibility, and again, just ate them up for dinner. I was more than happy with this. PlayStation 1 Zebra emulator, no issues at all, just as I expected, and the same for the rest of them. Null DC, Dreamcast, MAME, and Nintendo 64 was all eaten alive. I was even able to add some extra filters onto the more, I don't know, 32-bit and 16-bit, especially the 8-bit consoles, computers, all that kind of jazz. To be honest, this far exceeded my expectations. I then thought, well, this has played everything so far. I wonder. So I thought, Semu? Could you do Semu? Now I loaded it up, I put a few games on there and launched it on the most recent build, which at the time of me recording this is version 1.5.5C, and nothing. I got a black screen. I then waited for 10 minutes and I managed to get literally 1 frame per minute. What can you expect? It's a modern day console being emulated on a prehistoric computer. So yeah, I mean, if you could get that working, then you could say to everybody, why are you buying Wii U's? You can just go out there and buy a $50 PC to run it on. And, well, you could probably cripple Nintendo in a day. So yeah, just as expected. I didn't even bother with Citra, so no, I'm not playing that. That's just not stable enough for me anyway, even on a high-end PC. So yeah, I'm happy we've got what we got here. We've got Nintendo GameCube, we've got the Nintendo Wii, PCSX2 playing PS2, PSP, PS1, Dreamcast, Sega Saturn, MAME, Nintendo 64, so on and so forth. Loads of consoles, everything that I want to play is playing. Just no modern day stuff. But that's what you expect from a £50 PC. In fact, that's more than I expected from this PC. So then this brings me on to the PC game side of it all. Now, first off, I threw everything in the kitchen sink at this. Lego Marvel Superheroes I started with. It's a modern game, but it's not exactly a system crippler. Worked no problem, as expected. Mortal Kombat Complete Edition worked like a charm. I had to run this at 720p, run it on medium, but it run full 60 frames per second across the board. Smooth as butter, competition level stuff. I mean, this is awesome. Ultra Street Fighter 4, same again, no problems whatsoever. Run on medium, same with all the fighting games, until I come up to the beasts. Now, Injustice set me back. And to be honest, again, in terms of PC gaming with fighters, this is a crippler. Now, I turned everything down to minimum, loaded it up. It would play, but it was not smooth enough for me to actually enjoy or class this as a fully working game. So yeah, it got brought to its knees. I would say this is mostly down to my GPU choice. It's just not taking full advantage of its capabilities because it's such an old GPU. Same with Street Fighter 5. I hoped and I prayed that I could get this working on this GPU, but it's just not having it. It's not playing ball. But that's just what I expected. Now, don't get me wrong, Street Fighter 5 actually performs better than Injustice. I'm getting more frames per second. It's pretty damn smooth. However, the game is so glitchy in terms of the menus, in terms of the actual transfers, and it's just crashing all the time. So, although I'm probably getting full-on gaming, I'm not actually enjoying the game to any kind of standard. So, for me, No, not working. All the rest of the games though that I tried out that are sensible, no problem at all. So I got Sonic Generations, no problem. Abe's Odyssey, no problem. Mickey Mouse Castle of Illusion, Street Fighter, King of Fighters, Oddworld, Pinball FX2. All working, no problem at all. And to be honest, with pretty much decent settings on most of the games. Again, this is a budget PC. I was not expecting much from this. I'm not going to be going for 120 frames per second on Battlefield 4 or anything like this. I had low expectations, but it's proved to me that I can emulate any system that I want to play on here without any issues whatsoever for the price of what I would probably spend on a Pi once I've bought all the extras with it, and that's absolutely unbelievable. Now for me purchasing all the stuff that was involved in this, I didn't do anything special. I just went onto eBay. I purchased everything that you can pick up from ex-office suppliers. When I bought this, I bought it on a gamble. I did not know what it had inside. It literally only told me that I had an i3 processor, 4GB of RAM, and a 160GB hard drive. I didn't know what kind of i3 processor it had inside of it. I didn't know if it had a PC Express slot for me to put a graphics card in there. I didn't even know if this was fully compatible with everything that I was going to be throwing onto it. It was literally me taking a punt for 50 bucks, and it paid off. I'm not saying it's going to pay off for everybody. I'm not saying everybody go out there and gamble on it, but I'm just saying that this kind of stuff is out there if you know what you're getting and you tailor make it to the kind of stuff that you want to be playing. So that's it, guys. That is my conclusion for this, well, budget PC. Thank you very much for joining me. Good luck if you wish to go down this road as well. Please leave comments down below if you want me to test anything else on here. I will be putting this inside my arcade cabinet, showing you how to actually install it, get it all up and running, and, well, get your arcade working to its full potential. I've also got quite a few more arcade videos in the build, but I've not just stopped on this arcade. I've got more, my friends. I've got more. I've got lots more, and we'll be covering a hell of a lot of stuff in this scene. So thank you very much for joining me today, guys. Please like, please subscribe, please do the things that everybody normally does in this YouTube world of splendor. But most of all, guys, most of all, you have a good day. Laters!